Literally, guys, in today's night eviction show, we literally have a lot to unpack. Agla fish, Drakula, Anyway, guys, love is being scattered, guys. Literally, everything a lot. We literally have a lot. Anyway, guys, before we get to it, I am Nina and I am the queen of the tea. And this is where we literally get to unpack literally everything in Big Brother's house. So, guys, I don't want to waste time because we literally have a lot to unpack. Let's get into it. Anyway, guys, I will first mention the most influential person of the week, definitely, because we normally know on every week we have a new person. So this time it was Faith, and I must say, really, Faith deserved this position because dude has taken part in almost everything. When it comes to wager tasks, he's most serious on these wager tasks. When it comes to these sponsored tasks, dude is so active. When it comes to most other things in that house, he's so active. Apart from that part of the parties, he's the most boring person in those parties, we must admit. Maybe that is not his field or his strength. But then in these wager tasks, in getting himself involved in sponsored tasks, he has a good participation level. Anyway, guys, let's go and talk about, the evicted housemates, guys. Was I surprised? Was it shocking to me, having to see these people evicted? No. First of all, let's talk about the first housemate to be evicted from Big Brother's house. So, guys, the first housemate to be evicted from Big Brother's house was Denari. Was I surprised? Was I shocked? No. Anyway, why? So, when Doris got evicted, Denari literally lost his game. I guess he was inside that house, but then he was not doing the most. And let's not also forget, doing the least is not an option. And, that is literally what Denari was doing. He was so down. He was not feeding himself. He was literally not giving us anything. He was just, being in the house, having to be there. Yes, you're going to come for me he participated in the wager task, which they won. Yes, he did. But it was because he had the voice and, he tried to put himself there. But then we all know he lost the game. He lost the morale after Doris leaving the house. Anyway, guys, with all that, Denari was evicted from Big Brother's house and he was the very first housemate to be evicted. The second housemate to be evicted was Tracy. Was I surprised? Was I shocked? Definitely no. Let's also remember there was a time when Faith was seated with Zita in the garden and she was talking about, she's tired of this house. She really wants to go home. And us, with the viewers, with the voters, when you talk about you want to go home, we'll literally send you home. I literally feel like the voters had to send her home because she asked for it. Anyway, it is what it is. She was tired of the house and she wanted to go home, and they literally gave her a chance to go home and meet whatever is outside that she wanted. Anyway, guys, speaking about eviction, it was the way they called Zita. When they called Zita, the reason she was like, okay, it is now my turn. And she was trying to make a step on leaving. And I was like, girl, wait, they haven't mentioned anything like you evicted or something. And just like that, Zita was saved. Coin was saved. But then the shock, it is literally scary. Ebuka having to call you and he pauses, literally feel like, okay, I'm now gone. But only 2 housemates, it was just a double eviction tonight. So one question I'm going to leave behind, these housemates are so many. And we're literally coming to the finale of the season. What is Big Brother trying to do? Is there any twist? Is there any twist? Is this red phone going to evict, make red evictions or something? Because these housemates are too many in that house and the finale is coming. It's so soon coming. I don't know what Big Brother is playing. I don't know what trick he's trying to put across, but we will see. Big Brother, it is Big Brother's house. His rules, we just follow. It is what it is. Anyway, guys, let's talk about the drama. Let's go to the drama, guys. First of all, I'm going to say I'm not happy with brother Ebuka. Ebuka, why is it that most times you do not drill the people we expect you to? I know we are not supposed to, to command you and the people you're supposed to shake or the tables you're supposed to shake. But Ebuka, now there's things that keep happening and we expect you to ask the person and you do not. First of all, I'm going to say, Ebuka, I wanted Ebuka to really ask Faith about Imisi. Why? Because Faith has a lot to say behind Imisi's back. I literally wanted Ebuka to at least ask a few questions to see if Faith will say that a lot he has to say behind Imisi's back in Imisi's eyes, literally. I'm not happy about it because Ebuka never asks the people we want him to ask, I'm going to say. Because, yes, we wanted you to also ask those ones. But then I really wanted Ebuka to ask Faith. Because literally, everything about Imisi, Faith has something to say. Literally, Faith has something to say. And it is never positive, guys. It is always on the negative side. At some point, I feel like, It's, guys, I've tried to ask myself where this hatred is coming from of Faith towards Imisi, but it doesn't make sense to me. I really feel like just because Imisi ignored or did not accept Faith's apology is the reason as to why Faith is doing all this. Like literally, whenever somebody tries to talk about Imisi, Faith will only come out with the worst ideas, with the worst words he can say. Literally, it is always on the negative side. And I really wanted Ebuka to ask Faith about Imisi. Because I wanted to see, we really want to see Playe's Ebuka next time. Playe's this Ebuka. Anyway, I'm not going to force Ebuka. It is what it is. If he chose the people he wanted to ask, that is his part. Anyway, let's go to the people he asked. Let's go to Thelma Lawson. So Thelma Lawson was asked, Ebuka literally asked Thelma Lawson, like, oh, look, you have been the head of house. And literally, instead, of bringing these people together, you're literally like heading heading alliances that are literally separating these people in the house. And he wanted to say, like, literally Thelma Lawson was one of the reasons he literally leading these campaigns of creating alliances, like literally dividing the house. And Thelma Lawson was talking about bringing these people together or creating this togetherness, like teamwork, is literally not her activity or her job to do. And I'm like, okay, Thelma Lawson, you're straight. This Thelma Lawson is always on business, guys. And let's admit, it is not her business. She's also here in for the game. She's here for competition. That is not her part. She'll definitely play her part. The part of bringing all these people together. But what I have to say, like, literally, these people have different personalities, which we all accept. Everybody in that house is different. I'm not going to say, oh, this one matches this one's personality. No, everybody in that house is different, literally. So Thelma Lawson was talking about they have different personalities. Literally, it is so hard. And the next thing, it is not her job. And I'm like, yo, girl, you're studying on business today. It is what it is. Thelma Lawson is not ready to bring these housemates together. And she would rather scatter these housemates instead of bringing them together. And I would say, it is a game. Thelma Lawson was right. It is a game, which is okay. Anyway, let's talk about this Imisi. Imisi's part. So guys, I really feel like Ebuka wants to grill Imisi. Because what do you mean you asked Imisi a question last week and you still want Imisi, you still want to ask Imisi this week? It is giving me something like, oh, you really want to grill Imisi. Aren't you seeing the other housemates? Because later they also had a lot to talk about this week. But for the fact that you want to come for Imisi all the time, it is not making sense, Brother Ebuka. But that is the person you chose. So Brother Ebuka went ahead to ask Imisi, like, oh, look, when you were having conversations with Isabella, you called Joana and Mide names. And I'm like, Ebuka. At this point, I was like, Ebuka, I see where you're heading to. So he asked Imisi, like, oh, look, you called me and Joanah anglerfish, and is it Drakula, something like that? I don't know whether it is the right pronunciation, but like something like Drakula. And I'm like, okay. So Imisi went ahead to say, oh, look, Ebuka, I'm not the one who called those people names, like, or it was Isabella who called those people names. It was Isabella who called them Drakula and anglerfish, not me. At this point, I'm like, is Ebuka trying to attach that bad thing, or that is he trying to assume, or is he trying to do something for Imisi? Because it did not make sense to me, and I really know Ebuka would know the person who mentioned those words. But then him having to say it was Imisi when it wasn't, it did not make sense, Ebuka. It did not make sense. At least you would have asked, like Ebuka would have just said, when you were seated, Isabella said this. But Ebuka having to say, oh, that Imisi was the one who said it, it did not make sense. But then I like the fact that Imisi stood up for herself and told Ebuka, oh, look, I'm not the one who said that. It was Isabella. And she wanted to say that, oh, even today, she was having a conversation with Kola, and she talked about she's not involved in calling people like housemates names, because she doesn't like it, so she's not involved. And I'm like, yo, look, Imisi. At this point, I like the fact that Imisi stood up for herself, and she stood on business and told Ebuka, look, I'm not the person who mentioned all that. It was Isabella. And I like the fact that she mentioned the person who said all this, because without defending herself or without talking about the person, literally they would attach all those words to her, because we know how these housemates can be. Definitely they would attach all those names to her. Yes, I know it is going to create a drift. It is going to create differences between Imisi and Isabella. But then it was a point where Imisi needed to defend herself. I really hope Isabella understands, which I know she may not understand. But it is what it is. Imisi needed to defend herself. Imisi needed to stand on business. And that is literally what she did. Though I will say Imisi also created some weird impression of her when she went ahead to say like, oh, she called them barking dogs, which was unnecessary. She would have just defended herself by saying, oh, I did not call them those names. It was Isabella who did. I definitely think that was literally enough. But then her having to say, oh, she called them barking dogs. She would have to say, oh, when they're talking, literally, I would say Joanna speaks on top of her voice. Like she wanted to say, oh, when they're talking, it feels to Imisi that they are barking. And I'm like, oh, I literally feel like, oh, at some point I really feel Imisi wanted to also pass something like that. Because why would you bring it up? They were talking about, Drakula and anglerfish. And Imisi brought about barking dogs. And I'm like, Imisi, you're now putting yourself in, a weird space also. She would have just defended herself. And guys, at this point, when they mentioned Isabella, I knew something if having Joanna in it would literally run from 0 to 100 in no time. Just like that. After that, when Ebuka said, oh, I'll come back. On coming back, they were already filming. You know how Joanna can be from 0 up to 100. She was already filming. And it was the way Isabella was not replying, guys. I'll give Isabella her flowers. Guys, let's not forget, this is a game. This is a reality show. Everybody will do anything they feel like would get them to the finale. And the way Joanah is talking about, oh, Imisi has a script, she will dismantle the script. Oh, talking about, oh, she will give Imisi flowers for playing her script. Like, girl, it is what it is. This is a game. This is, like, the way she's angry at Imisi's script. And we all don't know whether it is her script, but then if it is, she came prepared. And that is literally one of the reasons as to why you should be in that house. You're supposed to prepare before coming to the house. And guys, let's not forget, Imisi on stage, she told us she's coming to act in that house. And if she's acting, I'll give her her flowers. And it is what it is. She's also supposed to do anything she feels that will get her to that, finale or win that money. And it is what it is. I don't like the way Joanna keeps bringing this up. Imisi's script. Like, girl, also create your own script. Nobody is stopping you from having your own script. If your own script is that you're giving to us, it is okay. Let people's scripts be. Okay, guys. And it was the way they were dragging, Isabella, talking about her, like body shaming her body refills, everything. And it wasn't making sense to me. And they were talking about the way she calls people hermaphrodites. And I know it was literally the way also Thelma Lawson involved herself in this fight. Because I did not see, she was literally fighting a battle that was not hers. I didn't really know. They have differences with those of Imisi and, Isabella. But then this fight was literally not Thelma Lawson's fight. Her fight was literally with rooboy, not Imisi and Isabella. But then she decided to carry herself and insert herself in this fight. And she was also adding about body shaming. And the way they were talking about, oh, Isabella said, sorry, Sultana said, just because they know right now they have, like correct or resolved their issues, and now they're still friends. Like literally, they're now on the same, seated together, and they can sit down together. Now these housemates feel like they're supposed to separate them again, and it is giving me something that everything they were saying Isabella said, sorry, Sultana said, and they were talking about it was Sultana who talked about body refill of Isabella. We all don't know whether it is correct, but they said it was Sultana who said, and Thelma Lawson said, oh, she was not sure, she had not observed well like this. And I'm like, girl, where is all this coming from? Then they also talked about the way she brags, like, oh, the way she brags about herself, having this, having that. And I'm like, if that is her strategy, you're also okay to brag. Because this is a game. There is one thing these housemates forget. They forget it is a game. You're supposed to do anything as long as it does not go beyond what the rule book says. You're supposed to do anything that will keep you in that house, anything that will get you to that money. If bragging is is what gets Isabella to that money. Let her do it. You also do whatever you want to do. I'm talking about, for them, they don't brag. For them, they don't talk about everything they have. Nobody has stopped them from talking about what they have. They can still also talk about it. Nobody has stopped them. Anyway, guys, as they were making noise, also Mide was talking about all this fight for what? Like, she doesn't have any big reason they're fighting. The reason is Bright. And I'm like, they're fighting for money. And guys, I will say, I think all this fight was from Kola. If Kola had kept quiet, missed around, the way Kola moves, they just... Because this part of Mide and this part where, Isabella talked about going for Bright, it was mentioned to Kola. And Kola, that's because Kola does not keep any secret. It ran and told those of Mide and Bright. And now it is creating, back and forth altercations and everything. And they're talking about, all this back and forth, all this hate, all this what is because of Bright. And Bright was talking about, I've not done anything, I've not done anything. Bright. Anyway, it is what it is. And guys, as they were on top of their voices, calling her names, body shaming her, talking about all that, Isabella was not doing anything. She was busy modeling around, showing these people like, I'm enjoying the highlights. It was literally giving me, I'm enjoying the highlights. Keep mentioning my name, literally. And she was not returning. And I liked that for her. For the fact that she was not returning anything, like she was not saying any words to them. And they kept, like yelling at themselves, literally mentioning words, calling her names, literally all that. But she was not saying anything. After her modeling around, she went back and sat with Sultana. So they thought after mentioning all that shit, maybe Sultana would be pissed. But then she still said, because Sultana's at least learned what these housemates can be like. She knows, nobody. And guys, let's admit, in that house, nobody has the other's back. Everybody's a witch in her own way. And speaking about that, let's be real. Let's be real, guys. Is it just because Ebuka decided to shake or talk about the conversations of Imisi and Isabella, that does not mean these housemates do not talk about Imisi and Isabella. We've seen them also talk about these people. We've seen thelma Lawson talk about these people. We've seen Joanah call Imisi names. And we've also seen Mide talk about Imisi literally. And I'm like, just because Ebuka chose, to pull out what these words said, they think like, because at this point, I'm not saying nobody is right, because nobody's innocent in this part, because both of them have spoken about each other. They've called each other names. So when I saw them like ranting, like literally yelling, like on top of their voices, like feeling that like they're offended, it did not make sense to me. Just because Ebuka chose to bring out only their part, that doesn't mean for them they were innocent. No, let's all admit. Because they have also had a lot to talk about Isabella and Imisi. Nobody is innocent in this phase, literally. Nobody. Even the Joanah who is yelling on top of her face. Like, she has called Imisi names, literally. Plus this low IQ. And she's also... And the fact that the way Joanah keeps bringing up this... beauty thing, I really feel like it hurt her up to this extent, because she keeps bringing it up. Literally, I really feel like she will never forget this, because she keeps bringing it up all the time. And what is this part Mide is talking about? She's disappointed in Imisi. I'm like, girl, look, it should literally be Imisi disappointed in Mide at this point, because what is this? Because Mide has also had literally a lot to discuss with Bride and literally call her about Imisi. Because she has said a lot literally, and she's talking about, she's disappointed in Imisi. You cannot sit down with somebody who has called her anglerfish and, those names, and like be okay, and also cook food for them and they eat. I'm like, girl, nobody forced you to eat the food. And literally, you cannot be disappointed. I never expected Mide to be disappointed, because if it is that, Mide had soft talks about Imisi with Kola. So you don't see her reason of, I'm so disappointed. Like, girl, no. It is just a tit for that. And it is a fair game. Just because Ebuka never comes out to bring out whatever they say or whatever they have to say about Imisi, that does not mean they're innocent. It doesn't mean they are innocent, guys. At this point, me personally, I wasn't buying the idea of making noise, yelling and saying all that. And it is just because Ebuka never calls them out for what they do to Imisi. And it is not making sense to me. Ebuka, it is not making sense to me. You need to also call out these people because they've also done a lot to Imisi. But then for the fact that all the time Ebuka wants to call Imisi out, it is not making sense. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's also talk about rooboy. So Ebuka asked rooboy, like during the week, literally, rooboy and Culture had a lot to say about his housemates, but mostly Culture was talking about the altercation or the back and forth he had with Mide, and also who rooboy had a lot to say about Thelma Lawson, and talk about like what's wrong, what's happening. Literally, Ebuka was trying to catch up with him, and then rooboy went ahead to say, oh, the first mistake he did was to tell Thelma Lawson the way he likes her. And I'm like, okay, that was not wrong. Maybe you are being honest. But then for the fact that it is being used against him, it is now the problem. He wanted to say like, oh, look, that Thelma Lawson had mentioned that he's not okay. Like, it is not okay for rooboy, the way rooboy sits in the garden when they're talking about her and rooboy does not do anything about it. And I'm like, like, he wanted to say, like, he cannot stop these housemates from talking about Thelma Lawson. And it is the truth, literally. There is no way rooboy is going to stop these housemates from talking about Thelma Lawson, because who are you to stop these housemates from talking about somebody? Definitely and nobody. You have no right, literally, to stop them. That is one thing Thelma Lawson is missing out. And guys, let's not forget, also Thelma Lawson, even when she's a focused person, she feels like everything is a strategy. And literally, rooboy also mentioned it, like, or the way he mentioned, like, the liking, it feels like it is a strategy, like, rooboy wants to Thelma Lawson, like, girl, look, no. And Thelma Lawson, so rooboy went ahead to say, oh, he doesn't know who told her that it is a strategy, but it is not. And he feels like every time rooboy does anything, literally that part of, like, literally Thelma Lawson will use the part of liking against him. And it is, at this point, I'm thinking, guys, let's be real. At this point, to me, I feel like they have their own personal issues. Like, they should sit down and solve their personal issues, maybe, and also sort their feelings out. Because it is not making sense at any one point. Because all this liking, all this what you're talking about. Because Rubo also mentioned, oh, he doesn't know how to sing and he did not get time like to. And I'm like, all this altercation, all this back and forth between Ruboy and Thelma Lawson. It is just personal. Let them sit down, talk issues out, resolve their issues, because it is not making sense to me. Maybe Ruboy should go back and tell Thelma Lawson, oh, I've stopped, liking you. Maybe that would solve the issue. And Thelma Lawson keeps talking about, like Rooboy goes ahead to have conversations with other people about her. And I'm like, girl, if you feel like you want to have a conversation with him because of that, why don't you call him, sit him down and tell him? Because it is literally not making sense. Because also Thelma Lawson goes around talking to other housemates about Rooboy, and also Rooboy does the same thing. Why are they fighting? Let them sit down, solve their issues. Be good, because we are tired of all this. You're talking about me, all this. Thelma Lawson having to blame Rooboy, going around talking about him. But then it is literally, Thelma Lawson literally also does the same. And it is not making sense. Whatever they have is a personal issue. They should just sit down and solve whatever they have. That is literally how I feel. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Let's meet in my next video. Bye.